Wulong Fallen Dynasty is the latest game brought forth by the amazing team behind the Nioh series. Just a forewarning, this is not part of the Nioh world, and is not Nioh. There are some similarities, but this game stands on its own. And to be honest, it's a little simpler than Nioh was. I've worked my way through a good bit of the game, so I can tell you how good the game's story, mechanics, and overall gameplay is. If you'd like to see some gameplay, check out the link for the live stream, and make sure you stick around to the end and see where this ends up on the old bar. Taking place in the Three Kingdoms period in ancient China, follow a member of the militia as they fight the rebellious Yellow Turbans, trying to stop the spread of demonic qi from destroying the land. The story uses real-life historic events and characters with a supernatural spin, making for an entertaining and somewhat educational game to play through.
Thanks. What's your name, warrior? I follow General Gongsun. My name is Jiao Yun.
Your discourtesy requires...
There is a lot of blood with every attack. I mean, the game does have a mature rating, but the only problem I would have with the kids watching would be fighting human enemies and some of the scary looking demons with their googly eyes, crazy hair, and freaky squeals.
Thank you for saving me.
Starting out, the game had an impressive character creation section. It seems games are working on getting better and better these days, allowing for a perfectly unique character to play with. A lot of different hairstyles to choose from and adjust, fine-tuning on the face, and even the voice. After selecting the preferred voice, there was a pitch slider, making it just right. And if I got tired of any of the options I picked, I could adjust it later in game. This game does have Souls-like mechanics, and in natural Souls-like fashion has a quick tutorial before basically throwing me to the wolves. Combat involved fine-tuned timing, most of the time. Sometimes I could just run in there button mashing and make it out just fine. But there came a point where I really needed to utilize all of the combat mechanics available if I wanted to succeed. An interesting mechanic was they've done away with stamina and instead use spirit. Spirit loss happens when special actions are taken, like martial arts, getting hit, dodging, and wizardry. Spirit usually stays at 0, denoted by a little bar under my life, moving to the right when spirit is gained by deflecting or making attacks, and moving to the left when spirit is used. When all the way to the left, if I took a hit, my character would stagger. Unable to defend myself, it usually ended in a lot of damage taken.
Let's get back. I will handle this.
Leveling up in Wulong involved Qi. I would accrue Qi by defeating enemies or from various items, and I would lose Qi if I died. But not all of it. Instead of a complete loss, it would just be a percentage that could be increased by different abilities on my equipment. If it was a regular enemy that killed me, I had to avenge myself by killing them back. If a boss got me, I just had to start a fight with them again and I'd regain all my Qi. Though Qi retention in this game is nicer than other Souls-like games. This game uses the 5 phases to level up, as well as basic wizardry combat. We'll get to that later. The 5 phases are how ancient China explained the natural qualities of heaven and earth and how it affects everything. A very fascinating subject, but we won't go too depth on that. This is a game review after all. The 5 phases are earth, water, fire, metal, and wood. When leveling up, I would have to take into consideration what I wanted, as well as how it would affect my weapons. Wood increased health, metal was used for wizardry, etc. Thankfully, there is an option to respec if it felt like I messed up or I wanted to try a new build out, and the process was very easy. Wizardry in Wulong is magic, basically. I'm usually not a fan of trying to use magic in combat, but this game is a lot easier if wizardry is used correctly. Every phase has a tree to learn skills from. Points to put in the tree are gained by leveling up, but a spell couldn't be used unless the phase was a high enough level. The 5 phases are kind of like a game of rock, paper, scissors in combat, each phase being weak or strong to another. Earth absorbs water. Water extinguishes fire. Fire melts metal. Metal cuts down wood. And wood breaks down earth. If a boss was particularly tough, I needed to counter their preferred phase with whatever they were weak to. A mechanic I wasn't particularly fond of was Fortitude. Fortitude starts out at level 0 for every new area, increasing when I would plant a flag at a specific point or defeat a lot of enemies without dying. Being a high enough level was important, but didn't make much of a difference if my Fortitude was a fraction of the enemies. If mine was at, say, 5, when fighting an enemy with a Fortitude of 19, they could almost take all my health in one hit. But if I would build up some Fortitude and come back, it was crazy how weak they became. Some areas allow for exploration, and I would end up in an area I was not prepared for, causing me to backtrack and find the correct way through. Oh, and some wizardry spells couldn't be used until the Fortitude was a high enough level. Some spells I came to love were unusable for a while in every new zone, just adding on top of the bullcrap of Fortitude. The equipment in Wulong can get quite complex. Every piece has 1 to 4 stars, the stars allowing for more abilities on the piece. The abilities can be customized in a sense. At a blacksmith, some abilities could be replaced with something from a fixed pool depending on the item in question. Like, a chest would have different options than gloves. Changing abilities required materials and money. All of the extra equipment I had could be either sold or salvaged depending on what I needed. Usually materials for customization. If comparing this game to Nioh, I would have to say I enjoyed Nioh more, even though this game is far simpler to navigate than Nioh was. But this game is still really good on its own. The first boss was a skill check for sure, teaching me how important it really was deflecting attacks. After that, it was quite a while before I hit the next wall to overcome. But that's what makes these games so great, in my opinion. Wulong Fallen Kingdom was another Souls-like game with its own unique challenges and tribulations. I loved it. Even when it took me 3 straight hours to take out a boss, trying new ideas and playstyles, different equipment or spells, everything about it is so satisfying when I make that last attack ending the fight. Everything about this game works so well, I'm throwing it on a special reserve. This game keeps me awake at night, thinking about the different playstyles or how I could get better. If you're into Souls games, or Nioh, this is a definite buy. You won't be disappointed. Just don't get it expecting another Nioh. That would be disappointing. I can't stress this enough. Not Nioh. Alright, now that we're done with that, time to move on to the next one. I will see you there. Bye!